Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a whole new episode of Full Steam Ahead. I'm your host Zoe, and my guest, not my guest, but my co-host on the other side, Angel. How we doing?
Uh, it's been a rough week, not just for the Astros, but for me personally. So I mean, I guess we both had rough weekends.
Yeah, I think everybody had a rough weekend watching those games at Minute Maid Park for the last series at home, and now the Astros will now have a losing record at home for the first time in a good while. I'm pretty sure I didn't pull the numbers up in front of me, but I mean that's a very disappointing series. Episode 132, Crown Dropped, as we're gonna title this episode. Angel, explain why. Instead of giving us this one word to describe this series, describe this episode, why we're titling it Crown Dropped.
Yeah, just like me, I think the Astros caught a cold, and they are they are the defending champions, and right now I think their championship crown is slipping off their hands because there is no way. I don't know like how to say this, but you should not. The Astros should not get swept by 100 loss team, especially in October, and then especially because the Royals swept them, so that's kind of the crown, uh,
Yeah.
analogy there. But it was just a disappointing series overall. Again, you should not get swept by the Royals, especially after they have lost their division lead. I don't know if you saw Channel Roan's post. He said he asked uh, Jordan Alvarez like, "Where's that like intensity and stuff like that?" I was like, "Well, it's like." He said that that they hadn't really thought about it because they were in first place, but now that they're uh losing, is like they're gonna keep up the intensity, right? And then he followed up was like, why was it not there in the first place, right? So I think this team just needs, and they've had like plenty of chances to have a wake up call. They had the walk off win. They had those team meetings. Then uh, I don't know what's gonna ignite this team, but they have a tougher task ahead of them against the Seattle Mariners, who I'm sure are pretty upset about themselves too because they got swept by the Rangers. So it's gonna be a brawl. It's gonna be a brawl. It's gonna be like one of those Hell in the Cell matches you see on WWE in Seattle. So get ready for that.
Yeah, I mean, you said it all right there. When they go to Seattle, it's going to be like an ALDS matchup from last year. Man, it's going to be back over there at the Pacific Northwest. But this series overall, I mean, it was, like you said, disappointing. It was just rough. I don't know what else you want to call it. Embarrassing, really, too, because, like you said, I mean, these are a 100 loss team, the Kansas City Royals. But before that, they did sweep the Cleveland Guardians, and this was their fourth series they have won in a row. Which credit to them, they did what they did. They did a great job offensively, putting pressure on the Astros. But on the other side of things, I mean, you got to take care of business against these teams. Fangraphs gave the Astros a 99 point something percent or 94 or something like that to make the postseason. Now it's about a 25, which that's pretty scary to see because you were supposed to take care of business against these teams like Oakland and KC. And what did you do? You went, you lost nine of those games, 9 of 12 of those games. That's what I was trying to think. But like I said, disappointing, embarrassing. We'll run our pros and cons real quick. We'll do our pitching preview. We won't go into so much deep detail like we usually do. We'll just give our thoughts, best matchups we had probably think in this series, offensive pitching MVP and hot takes, and we'll see if we'll do over and under. But Angel, I mean,
But yeah, before we start the pros, I mean, I guess it's kind of a pro too. The Astros got lucky. The Astros got lucky that the Mariners got swept because they're still in the last wild card spot, but against just a half a game. Just I just wanted to add that.
yeah, and then before we even start that, let's look at the wild card picture and really the division as well. Astros in the wild card situation right now, they're in the third spot. Seattle is just under them with a half game back. Toronto is on that second wild card spot with 87 and 69 losses. The Astro in division, the Rangers are up 87 and 68. The Astros are 85 and 71, and the Mariners are 84 and 71. Astros are 2.5 games back of the Texas Rangers getting that first place spot again, which Texas will travel to Anaheim and face the Angels, which I don't know if you saw, but they transferred Mike Trout to the
Yeah.
60-day IL, meaning his season's over. Everybody knows what happened with Shohei Ohtani. His season's over. So maybe Anaheim could help the Astros out by taking two out of their games over there against the Rangers. I'm not sure. But like you said, too, the Astros are lucky because the Mariners did get swept by the Rangers at Globe Life Field. But at the same time, too, it's going to be a brawl, like you said, as well. It's just going to be a battle royale trying to figure out who's going to take that last spot on the wild card and possibly if they can even still have a chance to win the division, the AL West.
Yeah.
But,
It was
Angel, and go ahead.
no, no. I was just say it was brutal. That's it.
I mean, it's just so hard to describe this series. Everybody had like, including us too. We didn't think the Astros were going to drop another series, especially to the team that they just went and faced over there in Kansas City last week. And you
Yeah.
saw basically almost the same pitchers. You saw Cole Reagans again. You saw Jordan Lyles, which Jordan Lyles 5 innings of 2-hit baseball.
That's
That's
making him
bad.
making him look like a Cy Young candidate.
Exactly.
Honestly.
The Astros did a decent job against Cole Reagans again, but the one that really upset me was that Jordan Lyles pitching performance. If you're a Royals fan, then yeah, excited to see that. But at the same time, too, come on. I mean, this guy almost has a 6 something ERA, and you can't get no runs against him in 5 innings.
And then the Astros can't click as a team. Like when the pitching's on, offense is off. When the offense is on, the pitching's off. Like take Sunday for example, Hunter Brown was off, but the offense scored 6 runs. Like they had a chance to win that game, but they just couldn't do it. And then the second game in that series, the pitching was great. JP France had a great outing. Where was the offense? And it's just like
Exactly.
again,
The inconsistency needs to stop, especially right now. Going to Seattle, you got to try to find a way to win that series with
not just
which
win
will
it. You got to take all three because
you have to.
yeah, because again, the Mariners do have the advantage. So the farther back you bring them, the better.
Yeah, and then at this point, just try to get into the postseason. Just try to, clinch a berth at least at this point. But Edge, I mean, do you want to start us off with some of these pros of this series? I mean, there's really nothing. It's like when we do our shout outs, there's nothing to shout out when you get swept at home against the Kansas City Royals.
Yeah, I can start it off, and we kind of made this a point of emphasis last podcast that the bullpen had to be under a game, and they were. Unfortunately, the rest of the team wasn't. Um, the bullpen was sharp. They pitched 10.2 innings pitched. They allowed only one hit,
One
zero earned
hit.
runs, 5 walks, and 15 strikeout, and that is with Jose Urquidy. I know you had mentioned him in the previous podcast. He pitched 2 great innings, which was a bright spot because he had not looked sharp at all. Before the series, this was our over and under. Astros bullpen allows less than 8 hits. We both went under, and we both hit. They only allowed one. Right, we
Yeah,
both
but
hit on that.
the one thing I want to go with that though too, since we're talking about that,
hmm
the other three series before that,
hmm
Oakland, the bullpen allowed 7. KC, they allowed 9. Baltimore, they allowed 15.
15, yeah.
One hit in this series from your bullpen is pretty damn good. Yeah, out of 10, like you say, 10 plus innings that they had to pitch through, that's pretty good. That's a great start, at least when the Astros do go travel to Seattle and they're in a rough patch over there. You know that you have a great bullpen to back you up and things like that.
And speaking of the bullpen, Brian Abreu, he's been on a different level. I think he's pitched 24 straight innings without allowing a single run, and
It's
he
pretty good.
has 24 strikeouts in that span. So basically, a strikeout an outing. But I okay, I'll take this after this other pro because I do have a concern about the bullpen. But I think, but let's do this pro first. So, uh, another pro was that two of the. I mean, Kyle Tucker has had a great season. Like he's the RBI leader. Like not taking anything, nothing from him. But Jordan Alvarez and Chas McCormick had a great series as well. Uh, Jordan went 4 for 12. That's a 333 batting average with one home run and 2 RBIs. Chaz went 3 for 11, 272 batting average, 2 home runs, and 5 RBIs. Now, uh, I, I think Kyle Tucker was only able to muster 2 hits in this series, but he did have an RBI and a stolen base, which brings him closer uh to that 30-30 milestone. I think he has 28 home runs, and I believe now he got his 30th stolen
Stolen
base.
base.
Yeah, so he's close. He's close. I mean, he has to hit two in the next 2 series. But I do have one concern about the bullpen. That's Ryan Presley. I mean,
Hmm.
they brought him in to pitch on Sunday, but he didn't look too sharp. And again, this stretch of September, he hasn't been great. He's the one that allowed a hit during the no hitter. He allowed 2 walks this outing, and then he have blown a save in September as well. So, do you think it's time, like, just because the way Brian Abreu has pitched again, like we just said, he had 24 straight scored his appearances. What do you think it's time for the Astros to start shifting away from Presley to Brian Abreu as a closer?
I wouldn't say that. I do like Presley's stuff, and I'm trying to see because I felt like they gave him a contract. Yeah, I'm researching right now. Presley signed a 2-year, 30 million contract extension that will pay him 14 million in 2023 and 2024. So the Ash. Oh, and then he does have a vesting option for 2025 if he appears in 50 games in both 23 and 24. So you're gonna have to ride with Presley for another year. The future in the closing role, I do see somebody else, but as of now, you have to ride with Presley. I think he's done a great job this season. I think he's like the top five
Yeah,
in American League with saves, or just under top five. It's just one of them rough patches right now where everybody's going through. I mean, you're seeing it right now. The offense is doing it. I mean, Tucker, look what he's doing. He's leading the American League with RBIs, but down the stretch right now, September, he's been not doing too good.
yeah,
Abreu, we've talked about him. I mean, we've talked about all these other guys, and yeah, I mean, you could use Brian Abreu into that closing role. Not this year, maybe next year, but maybe 2025 for sure. You could go and put him in that role because I do like Abreu being in those high leverage situations.
yeah,
Him, Hector Neris are one of the best at doing that. And Hector Neris, I mean, his
yeah.
contract's ending this season, making him a free agent for 2024.
That's
So that's
another.
kind of that's kind of scary because Dana Brown's gonna have to do some thinking. And honestly, the commodity in the bullpen that they have right now, I mean, I like it. You can't try to take away anything from that. You can't let another guy go because that's what happened to Rafael Montero. Honestly, the money situation in that contract was a little too much, I'd say. But he did have a great postseason. He did have a great season last year. He's starting to have a good second half of this season. Hector Neris, on the other hand, I think that guy's going to have to be locked down for the Astros for next year, I'd say.
Yeah, and I was gonna hit on that as well because, like you were saying, Hector Neris has been great. I think he's been one of the, I think he has a 1 point something ER, 1.8 something ERA if I'm not mistaken
Yeah,
this season. Like he's been dominant. But I was gonna mention that he Neris has the advantage on this contract talk because it's gonna be like, well, y'all gave Montero this much, why can I not get this much? So
exactly.
beware on that
I
one.
hope it doesn't end like that, though, but it's a great chance
Yeah,
for it being like that because I mean, Neris in the Astros uniform these past 2 or 3 seasons, he's done really good. He's done a fantastic job in the bullpen, and he was a former closer as well with Philadelphia.
yeah, yeah, he was.
But answering that question with Presley, you got to stick with him then Abreu. I think you have to just boost the confidence. I think to, I mean, fatigue. I'd say I don't know how many innings if he pitched more this season than last season, which I'm pretty sure because all the relief pitchers this year have had pitched a great amount of innings. I think at least 60 plus. I'd say they're probably reaching that
I don't know.
70 plateau. But
So,
ride
let me
with
see. I
Presley,
got you.
dude. Yeah, I mean, you got
So
to ride with him though.
yeah, so you're right. He has pitched a lot more innings pitched than he did in last year. So, but I mean, this is not uncharted territory for him either. So, because for example, in 2021 he pitched 64 innings. 2022 he pitched 48. But and then he had 48 with
I think he was on the IL too during
eh,
that time as well.
yeah, and then he got 33 saves out of it. So that's how dominant he was, and that just speaks volume to how great the Astros bullpen was last year, right? 33
Mhm.
saves and 48.1 innings. Whereas this year, He's pitched excuse me. He's pitched 62 innings and he has 30 saves. So almost about 15
About
more.
the same,
Yeah,
almost the same though. Like in 2021.
yeah,
And
almost
I mean,
similar.
he did good too in 2021. I mean,
Yeah,
he's been a great closer for the Astros. That's why I said when it comes to the end of the day, where you're going to rank Ryan Presley as a closer in this franchise, he's going to be up there with Billy Wagner, like you were saying too. Brad Lidge. You can have that debate who's going to be the second best because Wags is on his way to Cooperstown. That'll probably be off season kind of talk, but I still have faith. I still trust Ryan Presley's stuff. He's still good. It's just two when the Astros are losing amount of games that they have, which I think they've lost 14 games now in September. It just you're not going to be able to pitch as many games as you want, and then
yeah.
with blowouts especially, you're not going to see him at all. So yeah, you got to ride with him unless otherwise. I don't see anybody else being in that closer role until further notice until like I said, maybe 2025, 2024. But let's start with the cons. You gave some pros, which was pretty good, but we always got to find the bad, the ugly in this series. And I mean, for first and being the sweep, I mean that is the ugliest part of this series. But the Astros offense too, 1 through 6 in the lineup. You usually have Jose Altuve, you have Jeremy Pena, you have Jordan Alvarez, Alex Bregman, Kyle Tucker, Jose Abreu. Okay, Friday, 1 through 6 of that lineup that I just said right now. 6 for 24 with a 250 batting average, with 1 home run, 2 RBIs, 5 walks, 4 strikeouts. The home run came from Jose Abreu's opposite field home run. Okay, let's move to Saturday now. Without Pena being in the 1 through 6 of the order, now we're going to go 1 through 5. They went 2 for 17 with a 118 batting average combined, 1 RBI, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. Sunday, same thing. Pena was, I believe, he was the 9 hole in that lineup for Sunday's matchup. 5 for 19, 263 batting average. He had a home run from Jordan Alvarez, 3 RBIs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. That part of the lineup right there has to find a way to step up. Alex Bregman was one for I can't I wish I had the stat on me right now, but he was 1 for something in this homestand. That's pretty bad. I said he was 1 for 10 the last one we had talked about, but he didn't get one hit in this series against the Kansas City Royals. That's pretty bad. Kyle Tucker, like you were mentioning, he only had like about 2 hits. He got to get going. I think them two really, them are the only ones that have to get going. Of course, Jose Abreu too. Jose Abreu's done a decent job. In our last podcast, we talked about him having 10 strikeouts in his last 7 games. But honestly, it has to be Kyle Tucker. The RBI king has to step up some way, somehow. Alex Bregman, too. I've never seen Alex Bregman in a slump like this in a good while since, I think, the beginning of the series. The beginning of the series, he was like in a 0 for something slump that he didn't even get a hit until like the third series, I believe, of the season. 6 RBIs combined, though. 1 through 6 of that lineup. 6 RBIs combined. Chas McCormick had 5 in this series, just himself. Do you think Chas McCormick needs to like maybe get into that 2 spot? What do you think? Jeremy Pena and Alex Bregman have doing the 2. Bregman 2 being in the 4. Do you think Dusty might need to just maybe see Chas McCormick in that 2 spot just to see how the offense flows?
I wouldn't say the two spot, maybe the fifth spot. Like for example, how Dusty had it today, and I think if they do make it to the postseason, this might be one of his postseason lineups that we saw on Sunday. It was Altuve, Bregman, Alvarez, Tucker, Abreu, then McCormick. I think if we move, the Astros switch Abreu to McCormick, that gives a little bit more of a RBI chance because I think McCormick has been great in clutch situations. So if Tucker can do it, you have Chas McCormick to uh, be there to pick him up.
Yeah, I think Chas McCormick's been just one of the best center fielders in baseball. I'd say top 5 this year. He's done a fantastic job for the Astros. He's getting close to a 2020 season, meaning 20 home runs, 20 stolen bases. He just needs one more stolen base to get that milestone. He's done a fantastic job for this lineup. Leaving him in the bottom, it kind of hurts, but at the same time, too, if that top of the order is not producing any runs, I mean, you need to find somebody to, do that. And Chas McCormick's done a great job. But moving on to runners in scoring position. The offense woes just continue. Friday, 2 for 13. RISP, runners in scoring position. 9 left on base. Saturday, 1 for 7, 8 left on base. Sunday, 1 for 10, left on base was 8. You combine that together, Angel, you're looking at 4 for 30 in the series.
It's terrible.
And I think Chandler Rome had a tweet that said that in the last two series combined, or in the last homestand, they were 9 for 50 something. I think 9 for 52, I would say, with runners in scoring position. That needs to be fixed big time.
Yeah.
They got to find their clutch gene. They got to find a way to get these runners on. I remember, I think the Friday night game, Kyle Tucker had a leadoff triple, and the Astros did not find a way to score him from third with no outs. You
I
got to
remember that.
take advantage of those opportunities. I mean, this game is hard. I'm not going to say it is because, of course, we're not major league ball players, but at the same time, you're at the pro level already. You've been to the biggest stage of them all, being in the World Series. You got to find a way to bring these guys in. Pop fly, I mean, not pop fly, but fly out to the outfield, ground ball, bunt, hit and run, something. And then
Now,
to before, go ahead.
now, um, to emphasize your point, and you were saying, got to do anything to, get runs on the board. We did notice that the Astros did bunt a lot more. So that's how you. That I mean, that just gives you a clue that they want to win. Like they're just not
Mhm.
like trying to give up runs. But honestly, that call on Chas McCormick was brutal.
Okay, so that's
It
where I
was
was
brutal.
going with.
It was
That's
brutal.
where I was going with right there. Something like that. And I'm not a coach, but I felt like Dusty Baker should have gone out there, argued a call, maybe get thrown out of the game, even though, that's not the part that you want to do. But something has to light a fire under these guys. And I think that could have lit it up right there. I mean, it was a one run ball game.
Yeah.
All you had to do, find a way. I mean, I think even Robert Flores had tweeted it out that get into a brawl, something. I mean,
Yeah.
try to light a fire under these guys. And I thought that
Yeah.
was a great opportunity to get thrown out in that game just to show your guys like, hey, we're still in it. Don't give up. I'm gonna fight for y'all. But he didn't go
I
out there. I thought that play would have been challenged too.
I mean, you could have as well, but I agree with you. I think Dusty Baker needs to stand up for his players, and I know that hasn't been really Dusty in his later part of his career. I mean, like maybe earlier on, you know, like in his managerial career, like you do see a fired up Dusty. But now that he's, older, he's pretty more chill, relaxed. But somebody needs to defend their players. Like somebody needs to do that because there's no like honestly, I was looking at I was at the game and I was looking back at the replay and I was like, there's not much Chaz could do. I mean, he was running straight on the
No.
base path. Like literally, he did everything what you're told. The first person had to reach out towards Chaz, so I didn't get the gist of that call. Uh, I think they might have to go to that orange softball base on the side, for a few years because that needs to get fixed.
Yeah, I mean, what can you do in that situation? The ball's thrown where the runner is going.
Yeah,
And I was shocked when they called him out. I was like, why? And then plus you could have I felt like you could have challenged that. Or at least go out there and talk to the umpire about it.
yeah.
Alex Cintron got thrown out the other day. And he's a hitting coach. They got to do something. They got to find a way to light a fire under this team because, like you said, the team meetings they've already had about probably 3 or 4 in this month already. There's no more of these team meetings that need to go on. Something like that, what Dusty Baker could have done was just at least go talk to the guy and show his players that he's going to defend them. I think that could have been, it could have flipped tables right there. It would
It
have
goes
flipped
a
the
long
table.
way. It goes a long way.
It does. It does. But the third part of the con list, Astros allowing their opponents to score first every game. That has been a trend these last couple of games. KC Friday, they scored four runs in the first. Saturday, 1 run. Sunday, they did not score first. The Astros did, but the next inning, KC scored three. Third inning, they scored three. That just it is with Maldi on Friday though. He could have caught that. I felt like that would have changed the whole game right there.
Yeah.
not catching that ball when Framber Valdez struck out Markel Garcia. Lastly, since we're on the subject, Valdez and Brown were just bad this series. I did not expect Framber Valdez to pitch how he did pitch. Give him credit though. This is his stat line for that night: 5 and 1/3, 4 hits, 7 runs, 6 of them being earned, 3 walks, 10 strikeouts. 10 strikeouts. That is great to see. Double digit. The Friday game, the Royals struck out as a team 14 times. But Valdez being able to find that curveball, the command was there. Some of the pitches were borderline in the zone that he didn't get, which was very frustrating to him. But at the same time, too, I mean, 6 earned runs, that's not great. And when Framber Valdez was coming off the mound, I was able to see the dugout and he threw his glove. Now he was just in pure frustration. And you know him. When he's mentally like just upset, he's gonna show it. And you can see it. And you can see it on the mound. You can see it on the mound. But I've never seen Framber Valdez thrown his glove going into the dugout. That was a first.
Yeah.
And then Hunter Brown, 3 innings, 6 hits, 6 earned runs, 1 walk, four strikeouts, and then he allowed 4 home runs. We talked about last episode. For Brown to be able to win these ball games, he's going to have to hold the ball in the ballpark, and that did not go according to plan for him. 4 home runs again. I think what Salvi Perez had one, Velasquez had
Had
two,
two. Yeah.
and then Matt Duffy, I believe, had one himself. Man, Matt
That was
Duffy's still in this league.
that was his second. He's only had 77 at bats this year, and that's his second home run.
Well,
Uh,
he's been in the league for a while though.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He
But I
has.
mean, that is our pros and cons, and a lot of cons. But the Astros got to find a way quickly to change it around going to Seattle, and that'll lead us to our preview against the Seattle Mariners. They are 84-71. They're third in the AL West, 4-6 in their last 10 games, and like Angel said, they just got swept against the Texas Rangers and Arlington, and then. You have to be optimistic at least if you're an Astros fan because the Astros do play really well on the road. Like right now, I got the home record 39-42. Away from Minute Maid Park, they're 46-29. So you got to be optimistic at this point that maybe the Astros could do some damage in Seattle, but at the same time, they're gonna have to face some tough pitchers in this series. So, like I said, we're not gonna go in too much depth into the pitching preview, but Monday you got 8:40 start time. You got Justin Verlander with an 11-8 record, 3.44 ERA. He'll be going against Luis Castillo. That's a Cy Young favorite right there, 14-7 with a 3.06 ERA. Tuesday's matchup, it's a 9:05 start time, which is very weird because 8:40 and then 9:05. I don't know why, but Christian Javier 9-4 with a 4.64 ERA. He'll be going against George Kirby, who's 11-10 with a 3.58 ERA. And then Wednesday's matchup, the series finale, 8:40 start time. Framber Valdez 12-11 with a 3.39 ERA. He'll be going against Bryce Miller, 8-6, 4.17 ERA. So I'm gonna ask you, Angel, which pitching matchup intrigues you? Well, which one you think that the Astros and the Mariners, it's gonna look like a pitcher's duel?
Well, pitchers duel obviously is gonna be the Justin Verlander, Luis Castillo, one of the both phenomenal pitchers that has a chance to be a low scoring affair by those RBIs. But the one that intrigues me the most, just on the Astros perspective, is that Tuesday matchup with Christian Javier, George Kirby. Last signing for Christian Javier, that's the Javier the Astros been waiting for all season. And if he
Yeah.
can replicate that against the Mariners, okay, because doing it against like I forgot who he did it against. I think it was KC, right? Okay, like doing it against KC is one thing, but doing it against the Mariners, who are potentially in the playoffs, if the Astros don't win, like that. That's what I have my eye on. If he can replicate that, that's great news moving forward to the Astros if they make it to the playoffs.
Yeah, Christian Javier actually pitched against Baltimore
Oh,
his
there
last
you go.
start. So it was Baltimore that he did really great back to back great back to back starts from him. And like you said, if he could replicate that from them 2 games into that matchup, I mean, that is a positive sign, but it's not gonna be positive if the Astros don't make the postseason.
Okay.
Because they're gonna need Christian Javier if they're gonna make the postseason. And if he continues to pitch like he's been doing, that's just great. But the one for me that I'm gonna say in this series that the Astros need to capitalize, and it's not Luis Castillo and it's not George Kirby. It's gonna be against Bryce Miller, the rookie. The Astros have not figured him out, Angel. In a combined stat of his two starts against Houston, he has pitched 12 and a third, allowing 4 hits, 0 earned runs,
Yikes!
2 walks, 7 strikeouts.
Yikes!
The Astros have to figure this young guy out. George Kirby, I mean, the Astros seen him in the postseason. Kirby's been a great pitcher, really, for the Mariners. But the second half of the season, after that start, I believe when it was against Tampa Bay with that whole fiasco. Well, I wish my manager would have pulled me out because I really didn't
Yeah,
want to pitch. After that, I feel like he's been a different pitcher. He hasn't been the same George Kirby like he was in the beginning half of the season.
in a in a bad way, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah,
Yeah. And then Luis Castillo, the Astros seen him from, I mean, they've seen him multiple times. I mean, this series right here, it's gonna, like you said, the pitchers duel is probably gonna be JV and Luis Castillo. Castillo, Cy Young candidate for this year, at least top three or top five. Justin Verlander has three under his belt. JV is gonna have to pitch like a Cy Young that he's always been like last year. Christian Javier has to replicate what he does. And Framber Valdez, that is going to be the other part of this series. Can he can he control his composure against Seattle, especially his last start against Seattle? He went three and 2/3, and then that was that whole drama with Caballero, and both benches hadn't gotten clear. You have the bullpens coming out. Frustration was building in that series for him. So can Framber Valdez keep his composure? Can the Astros figure out Bryce Miller? Can the Astros offense wake up in that series? Can the pitching be consistent? It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough, but I think it's very possible that the guys can get the series win.
yeah. I think so too. I think so too. Again, they have no choice. If they want to go to the playoffs, this is where it starts. And we've been saying that for quite a while now because it's true. And then like the Astros just have been extending and extending it. You know, again, they're 2.5 games back now. But it's been
Before
intriguing.
before we
Go
before
ahead.
we move on to one more question. We've already talked about it too last podcast. Jose Urquidy, does he get a start in the Arizona series?
I don't think so.
Does he
Just
get? You don't think so? Still?
no, no. Like we saw him off the bullpen today.
Okay, but you're gonna have one more start from Hunter Brown.
Ooh, actually, one of the one of the great Astros media guys, Javier Gonzalez, asked Dusty Baker if Hunter Brown was gonna have one more start. And he was like, I don't know. Basically like that.
You
So
can't. I mean, I'm dead serious, and I'm sorry to say this is my opinion, my thoughts. You can't put Hunter Brown back on the starting rotation this next outing against Arizona. You just can't. He hasn't found his groove. He just hasn't. Jose Urquidy at least threw you 3 innings of no hit baseball, 0 earned runs in the bullpen. That's what I'm saying. I feel like you got to give Brown, get him back into himself again. Put him in that bullpen to figure things out. Let Jose Urquidy come for one start. I just think one start needs for that's all Jose Urquidy needs is just one start. I think
okay. I mean, I can see it. I just don't. Again, everything's in the air
it
for
is.
that. But I think this is uncharted territory for the Astros in quite a while. So I think, like, I I know why the pressure's high, not just on the Astros but on the fans, is because they haven't been here since like 2017. Even in 2020, when they lost, when they went under 500, they still made the playoffs and they still were a game away from the World Series, right? So again,
Mm-hmm.
not familiar waters, but we'll see if they are able to overcome that. But now it's time for our pitching, our MVPs and our hot takes. I had Pena, France, and Astros offense scores more than 15 runs this series. So Pena was decent, not great, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, JP France did have a good outing, and did the Astros score more than 15 runs? I don't think so.
12 runs.
12 runs. Oh yeah, I actually did the math beforehand. I haven't written down yet. I forgot. Uh, I forgot. Yeah, and they did score 12 runs. So I mean, I didn't hit, but new week. hopefully the Astros can pick it up, set because they need to. So my new offensive VP is Jose Altuve. Again, he's a leadoff guy. He's a table setter. It starts with him. When he gets on base, good things happen. So that's gonna be the positive. That's gonna be what I expect for Altuve to do to get this Astros momentum shift to a positive one. My pitching MVP is gonna be Justin Verlander. He has the first game against Luis Castillo. Get the Astros on a good note by having a great pitching performance, and you never know what could happen. And then my hot take is Astros out hit the Mariners this series. Because again, the Mariners scored a bunch of runs, but luckily
Man, yeah.
Texas like overcame that offense, like put that offense down. So I'm saying Astros out hit the Mariners because two different teams right now.
Yeah, two different teams that are like in the same boat. They just got swept.
No, yeah,
So one of them is going to come on top. And if the Astros can now hit the Mariners, that pitching better be shutting it down and locking it down. But I had Bregman, did not do good. Framber, you saw how that stat line was. Astros finished the homestand on a good note. No, they got swept against KC and held the Royals to a total of less than 10 runs. The first game, the Royals put 7 runs. So that was a big offer right there. Big goose egg. But like Angel said, it's a new week. Hopefully the Astros do get something started against the Seattle Mariners. They played good, but this season 2-8 against the M's. So they got to figure it out right now. And it starts with Yordan Alvarez. You listened to me saying the stats of 1 through 6 of that lineup, and Angel said he was a pro, having a 333 batting average in that series against KC. It needs to carry on into this series against Seattle. And Seattle Mariners fans know this guy from game 1 of the ALDS, from game 2 of the ALDS, and game 3. So if Yordan could get these guys going, get into some RBIs, score first, put the pressure on the Mariners, by all means, I'll take it. So offense MVP right there. Pitching MVP, instead of one guy, I'm gonna go with a bullpen. I'm gonna go with the Astros bullpen here. That Angel had set that stat with them pitching a great series against the Royals, only allowing 1 hit. This one's gonna be very crucial against the Mariners. Yes, the Royals hitters don't have a Julio Rodriguez, they don't have a Teoscar Hernandez, them type of guys, but at the same time, too, I mean, they still got Eugenio Suarez. They still got Jared Kelnick, who's came off of the IL too because he was supposed to have season-ending foot surgery, but yet he still made it onto the roster for the Mariners. So, very crucial series for that bullpen to keep the Astros in the game. And then my final hot take: the Astros sweep the Mariners at T-Mobile Park. That is a
sweet.
very bold one for me. I haven't felt very confident on my hot takes, and this one, I mean, I have felt confident. It's just this one that's kind of like it's a toss up. But I feel optimistic that the Astros do play great on the road, and they will find a way to sweep the Mariners at Seattle.
Okay, okay. Well, it'll be
So
interesting to see if your hot take comes true because the Astros
they need it.
drastically, desperately need a sweep. But moving on to our over and under. So again, it's almost close to the final tally, but Lorenzo's 44. I am at 40. The first one, Framber Valdez strikes out 9 or more Mariners. Just to give you a trend of how it's going on. Dating back to Texas, he struck out 4 against Oakland, 10. The first time against the first time against KC, 5. The second time against KC, 10. Do you think he strikes out 9 or more Mariners? Again, completely different lineup.
I do see it. I think he's going to bounce back from that last start at home against Seattle. I think he's going to do the same thing how he did against the Royals. I think he'll go 10 strikeouts actually.
Okay. I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna go over as well. Even though the way this little pattern was like 5 or less, 10, 5 or less, 10, right? But I'm gonna say he breaks that 10 mark too as well. So I think he gets 10. I'm gonna go over on this one. The next one, the pit like we just talked about how great the bullpen was, but the starting rotation has been kind of shaky. So in altogether, Astros pitching staff limit the Mariners to less than 15 runs this series. Just to give you back some what's been going on this past series against KC, they allowed 16 runs in total. Against Baltimore, 15 runs, and then the KC, the first one, they allowed 15 runs. So you think 15 or less. So if you go under, it's basically like you'll win because
Like
that's
14.
yeah.
Okay. I'm going under on this one. They got to find a way to in the bullpen, really not even the bullpen. The bullpen's done a good job. It's the starting rotation. It's the starting pitching. And Justin Verlander, you got him being the first guy up. You got Christian Javier. You got Framber Valdez. You got to feel very confident in this series with having those three guys up, especially like you were saying with Javier. He's finding his groove again. If he could continue replicating what he did against the Baltimore Orioles, I see no problem having less than 15 runs.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the under as well. They need it. I mean, they have to
Hmm.
outscore the Mariners, and it's time. Like if you're gonna make it to the playoffs, this is it. So all the starting pitchers, bullpen need to be firing on all cylinders. So I would say they allowed less than 15 runs as well. And I put this guy on our over and under just to try to pick him up a little bit because he's been struggling. Bregman, like you said,
Yeah, Bregman, yeah, he has to figure it out some way, somehow. I mean, he's been struggling 1 through 10. It was something like that, man. It just hasn't been Bregman. It hasn't been the Bregman that everybody knows. So Angel did cut off, but I'm gonna say real quick on over and under. Bregman tallies 3 or more RBIs. KC 0. Baltimore he had 1. Kansas City he had 1, and Oakland he had 1. He has to find a way to get RBIs. He has to find a way to get on base right now. He hasn't gone on base in a good while, probably since that KC series over there in Kansas City. So over under on 3 or more RBIs. I will say actually I will go over on this one. He'll probably be in the 2 spot or the 4 spot, but some way somehow he's gonna have to find a way to get it going. So I think he'll have a good job at doing that. My man, welcome back. I was just telling the audience I'm going over with 3 or more RBIs for Alex Bregman.
okay. I think we're gonna have the same. I think I chose over as well. I'm sure you went what he's done, and he's been on a one RBI stretch, so I'm gonna go over. I think again they need to light up a fire, so they need to score some runs. So over.
Yeah,
And then the next one, Astros offense records more than 25 hits this series against KC. They only got 22 hits. Baltimore 25 hits and KC 27 hits.
I'll
Again,
go.
go
I'll
ahead.
go over on this one. I'm gonna go over because I don't know what's going on this plane right now going to Seattle, but I'm pretty sure people are talking, trying. I guess you could say another team meeting, but they're gonna have to find a way to score offensively against a team like this because, like you were saying, um, against the Rangers that Sunday game, the Kansas City, I'm not Kansas City, Texas, and then we're battling it out. Like I think it was 9-8, the final score, I believe. Seattle could come back, dude. They're a good team that in the late innings and late mark of the game, they're gonna find a way. So Astros do need to continue hitting the ball regardless of the score being up or down. They got to find a way.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're all unanimous in this time because I'm gonna go over as well. Although it's a really good pitching matchup, like you said. You got Luis Castillo, Kirby Yates, and Miller, who have been dominant so far for the Mariners, but not confident in this team that they can outperform those three aces.
Yeah, George Kirby, you meant, but yeah, I mean they could. They got to find a way to do it. They've been in situations like this where their backs against the walls. They've been booed at different stadiums. They've been through some tough situations. And this is probably one of the toughest they're going to have to face because it's their season's in jeopardy of not making the postseason. That hasn't happened for a team that hasn't made the postseason and winning the World Series since the 2019 Nationals. The Nationals didn't go in the postseason in 2020. So the Astros have to find a way to really, like you were saying, win all 3 games in Seattle.
Yeah, and, and I know we sound like a broken record repeating that, but it's true.
I mean, it's definitely true. There's no secret behind it. I mean, everybody knows that. Everybody that listens to this and even watches the Astros play, they know that the Astros have to find a way to win these next ball games, especially against after this series. They're going to go against Arizona, and Arizona's fighting for a wild card spot themselves.
Yeah, so it's
So
not gonna
that
be
could be a
easy.
yeah. There's a possibility they're going to see Merle Kelly and Zach Gallen, 2 of their best starters, which I'm not sure. We won't have that preview to obviously the next one, but other than that, that is the end of our show. Continue to follow us at Full Steam Ahead on Twitter, X, TikTok, our YouTube channel as well, FSA Full Steam Ahead on Instagram. Threads, we're still there. and the podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple, Google, wherever you got your podcast. Listen, drop us a review, drop us some likes, drop us a rate. But Andrew, you got anything else before we sign off?
No, it's just peace and go Astros.
Yeah, well, we'll give you that recap, and hopefully it's a positive one. But same time too, you got to hope Astros do their job. Maybe the Angels help the Astros too by winning some of their ball games against the Rangers. AOS, it's wild, it's hot.
Yeah.
So get ready, buckle up, because these last few games, I think there's 6 games left in the regular season. It's going to be a dogfight. But until then, we'll give you that recap and then the preview of the last series of the 2023 season. Until then, we'll see y'all later.